I know Deadpool Kennen is a newer Kennen or older Kennen skin, but I wish it did have some Deadpool humor in it. I forget what it's actually called, but I love Deadpool. He's such a funny character.
So, here we are. First game of our best of 3 final, all or nothing. Winner takes all, €1,000 top prize.
That is $205 burgers, or €5 burgers.
I hit the wrong button, take the target frame off. There we go. So, Hale, are we expecting an invade here? I mean, Moscow 5 probably don't expect it with the Maokai. We saw them do it earlier on, Maluno on Maokai, and they still invaded. And there's no other reason to take a route quite like this unless you're looking to catch somebody out of position.
Well, they could expect M5 to go for that invade. They do have Taric, and Karthus has quite a bit of damage and map control or map visibility with that Q. So they could expect the invade coming in from M5 and try to catch that.
Yeah. Although M5 are playing a little bit more defensive, and AL are staying in this bush. They've missed a chance to start Wolves or Wraiths. So unless he's going to get a lot more help from the team.
Let's see, well, what is his first skill? He hasn't put a point to anything yet. So he'll be fine with Wraiths. He should be able to do it very quickly. A good REQ, just any sort of support will be enough. I mean, Maokai, he's not the greatest jungler if there's no support. Yeah, he's very weak actually if there's very little support. But I'm pretty sure AL knows how to back him up. And we see a ward get placed already just to defend that mid lane from Nocturne ganks. And to see if Nocturne goes for a counter jungle.
So, Genja and Gosu Pepper are going to make themselves annoying over these golems.
They can't really do a whole lot when they're positioned that far back, because they don't know where Maokai started. They know he could be nearby if they do the Wraiths. I mean, they're assuming he's going to go to blue, but who knows for sure. And unfortunately, that did actually scare AL off in finishing that golem pair. So they kind of counter-jungled Maluno a bit right there, which is kind of unfortunate for him.
It's a tiny little one. It's annoying, but at least it's not the big one, I suppose.
You never know what's going to happen. Yep. Sometimes it'll be short, like one experience. Like, man, I wish I had a Nidalee on my team, or we still had that one golem alive.
Yeah. Or a Zillion.
Zillion would also help.
His passive gives everyone on the map extra XP per minion kill, I believe.
I heard in beta there actually used to be a... Oh, we have a stun coming out on bot lane onto Slipper. Looks like they're just going to go for a bit of damage as Gosu Pepper just gets beat up by Urgot quite a bit. I'll say beta story for another time. Focus on this little game going on right now.
Okay, where are we looking? We've got Nocturne just hit red buff. Gonna do golems and hit should be level 4. And I don't know how many health potions he's got. Nothing left. I expect he'll back, or at least go do wolves and wraiths again. No chance of a gank on that health, or is he gonna go and prove me wrong just for good measure? He's got a health potion ticking. He's looking to come around the backside of Young Buck. He's double buffed. He's got Warwick level 2. Young Buck just hits 3, gets a point in everything. Perfect timing for that lightning rush. As Diamond Prox comes out of the bush, lightning rush is used, and then the Q goes down. But Young Buck's plenty safe and actually takes or returns more damage to Diamond than he takes. So.
Trying to apply a little bit of pressure just to get work a little bit of free farm, a little bit of safety, rather than go for a full-on kill, which, you're right, Diamond Prox couldn't have done that with his current state, especially once Kennen hit level 3. That was just no longer possible. Zenek actually going very low on the bot lane.
Taking quite a bit of harass from Genja and a shatter from Gosu Peppa. We have Nocturne approaching mid, and Maluno is actually counter-jungling a Nocturne, not something you see every day. As the Q comes flying out of the bush for Diamond Prox, Maluno now knows he's safe, takes down the big wraith, takes a little wolf, takes a little one, and will run away from the last one, just to be as annoying as possible.
Zinnik going down in the bot lane.
Yeah, sorry, I switched up the last second. Flashing away the Ignite's not quite enough damage to finish him off. He wants to stay as Maluno is approaching from the river. Genja is really, really low, but Slepper doesn't have the most mana in the world, so the snare goes out. The knockback comes out. Summoner heal is up. Slepper chasing down with an auto attack. Flashes for first blood. Auto attack gets it. Didn't even need the mana. Mana's overrated, and he survives that passive damage. Kog'Maw not quite a high enough level to kill him with that yet. So, first blood to Absolute Legends onto bottom lane, and it puts them already 1,000 gold up.
I mean, first blood is 400 gold normally, and I believe you get 70 or so % of that in assist gold, so that's about 680 gold right there. And you factor in all the last hits and the fact that they have some better pressure in the top lane, which is actually Warwick is out CSing Kennen, so good job, Darian.
And he's still got 4 health potions up on both of them. So.
It looks like Youngbuck might just be going for passive laning rather than going for that Warwick harass, because at this point, without pressuring Warwick early on, it's kind of impossible to do anything at this point.
Ultra Face Extinct gets caught, does Charm Diamond procs, the slows out from Karthus. Massive damage! Wow, that lay waste ripping through Extinct. It was the help of Diamond Proc's auto attack as well, just timed up perfectly. But it hurt, and Extinct being low on the mana, starting to chug his last health potion. Needs to get these spell casts up, start spell vamping if he wants to stay in lane. I'll wait and watch. Maluno's here. He's out of vision at the moment, enough around that corner. I did ping onto Alexich because he's low health, but he should be safe for now. Ultra Face Extinct still a little bit low on mana, not enough for his full combo. And he's going to push the lane up anyway. So safe enough for now. Moscow 5 still 1,000 gold down behind AL.
And it's noticeable right now, but it's mostly going to be in that bot lane. Urgot is terrifying right now with his 2 Doran's blades and a longsword. And they're actually going 4 golems just to get a little bit of extra advantage. But overall, the lanes are going very well. The only person who's scary right now is Urgot. And as you can see, Ahri had a blower flash. There's some gank potential right now for both M5 and Absolute Legends. But once you start seeing 6s, that's when people are going to start showing up in lanes much more often.
We do have Slepper getting quite aggressive down onto Genja. He gets the stun for his trouble. Ult comes out from Karthus. Genja gets knocked up. Slepper going low. Gosu Pepper still chasing. Zinuk's not got the most health in the world, but Gosu Pepper is being switched on by Slepper. He puts the shield up, takes the kill. There's a summoner heal. Gets a heal out from... Sorry, gets a shield from himself as well as Zinuk. Knock up doesn't quite land. Needs to be careful not to take that extra damage. Ultra Face Extinct manages to take down Nocturne while this is all going on. Maluno doesn't need to snare. The Noxian Corrosive Charge lands. The Acid Hunter will finish Genja off. Maluno just shrugs off the damage and goes in to steal a blue buff.
And Absolute Legends playing very well. That heal bait was something I thought Urgot was going to die. I thought Slepper didn't have a chance to get out and was just going to go ahead and go for a trade, which would not have been in his favor because Kog'Maw would have stayed alive and pushed in. So that was just a very well played bait and kind of mind games going on for AL and M5. And you'll notice Karthus was actually, I don't know if he was heading down towards the river to support the Kog'Maw as he escaped, or whether he was actually getting ganked mid. I'm not too sure what happened because I was too busy watching the bot lane. But it looks like, I mean, right now we just see AL doing what's been done quite a bit this game, just setting up situations for M5 to get baited into a punishment. Like, that Urgot had no HP and by no means had a right to survive if he didn't have that heal up. I don't think M5 were keeping timing, so if you're going to make that mistake and not knowing that heal's up, it's going to come back to bite you.
This top lane is boring. They've both still got 4 health potions up. They've just been back to buy. They're farming ever so slightly. But that's about it. We get 1 or 2 auto attacks from Youngbuck, and then 1 auto attack on a minion, and Warwick gets all his health back. So bot lane's where it's at. Genja and Gosu Pepper trading ever so slightly with Zinuk and Slepper. But Slepper now with all these extra kills to his name, 2 Dorans and a longsword, some more potions in his boots. Genja a little bit further behind, but he has got Chain Vest up, and they're not cheap.
But like, think about it. That's what Genja has to buy to survive this lane. And Chain Vest is actually not that good against Urgot because Corrosive Charge reduces a percentage of armor. So it's 45 armor, but ends up being about 39 when Corrosive Charge is on him.
And there is that Corrosive Charge. Takes 1 Acid Hunter to the face, takes 2, and a 3rd one. We'll finish that combo off.
That hurts so much.
Especially now it's levels up to level 7. The Brutalizer's only going to make it worse.
And I really like that AL's just going to keep applying this pressure. They're not going to let... They don't want to let any leeway happen because if Kog'Maw farms up, you know, Kog'Maw a pretty good late game carry.
Nocturne, comes out onto top lane. Young Buck's the target. He flashes away, and the lightning rush. The fear is going to proc, but not before Diamond Procs gets stunned under the tower. One more auto attack from the tower is not enough. Young Buck is on the run. Darian is doing what he can. That lightning rush might just be enough for the movement speed boost. And yeah, Karthus just says, "All right, you've had your fun. I'll finish you off now."
Now, unfortunately, they did have to use Karthus ult for that. So, I mean, Karthus getting a kill, awesome. But you don't want to have to use your ults if you don't need to. So, well, I wouldn't call that an advantage. I call that an opportunity for AL to go ahead and make another map play because they know that Karthus is not there. And there you go. They're going for Dragon. They knew Nocturne was low. They knew Wick is up top. So even though Kennen is dead, they can just get this Drake since they know they can. They know that there is just no way the enemy can react safely.
There we go. So in return for their first death of the game, they'll take a dragon, and that's pretty much worth it. 3,000 gold at 10 minutes. AL are a long, long way ahead.
Now, M5 is really good at comebacks, as we've seen. And there's also the fact that they still have a good poke composition, which they really love, and I like that they always seem to have poke, because it's what keeps them in the game later on. If they do fall behind, they'll just poke down at the enemy team and eventually just engage at the right time. So they have Karthus and Kog'Maw for poke. Not the best. Kog'Maw very good at it, not Karthus.
Sorry, Ahri ulting in onto Alex. It does land a snare, a charm. Oh, goes through the slow as Diamond Procs reveals himself. The fear's going to go, but Maluno's here with a saving snare. Diamond Procs dodges the charm because of that knockback actually, but he will still pay for it with his life. Extinct actually flashing into Alex. It finishes it off with an auto attack. Maluno needs to dodge these last lay waste, but he's going to walk into Kog'Maw instead and will still drop down. And Extinct getting one time too greedy for those last CS. Could have got out of there a long time ago, but Genja and Ghosty Pepper came with a stun to spoil the party, and in fact Darian was on his way down mid lane as well.
That was still a 2-for-2 exchange, but the good news is who got the kills? Kog'Maw, and Kog'Maw is in desperate need of any sort of gold right now. Looking at that 50 CS difference in the bot lane, and anything to help him catch up to that Urgot again is just going to be so important right now.
And double buffer a big part of that.
He can now safely farm with his ult for a good chunk of the time.
Firing off under to the wall, yeah.
I hate that wall, said Slepper as he Acid Huntered it. Acid Hunter, terrible verb, by the way.
I really don't think he likes the edges of this map. I mean, he's just shot an Acid Hunter at the wall. He loves firing arrows straight off the edge, so something to it.
Well, the Acid Hunters hit the wall, the arrows go off, so the Acid Hunters hate the wall. But what do the arrows hate? Something off the map. They hate
Teemos. Every time an arrow misses, it hits a Teemo. But Genja gets swapped down in the bottom lane. Massive burst damage, and Ahri's there to help out. Ghosty Pepper's now the next target. Double kill, bottom lane. One for Urgot, one for Ahri. Moscow 5. Okay, you got a double kill in mid, but AL just going to go and grab one of their own.
And unfortunately, that did reset Kog'Maw's gold value, and Taric has only died once as Nocturne is running into Maluno. They give each other little jungler hugs and walk away from each other after saying hello.
And Urgot actually grabbed that blue buff. Obviously, Kog'Maw kill went to Ahri, so she got the double buff from him, and Urgot grabs the one that should have been going to Karthus. Let's go 5. And they're looking in all kinds of pain right now.
As Young Buck's actually getting ulted on by Warwick and Nocturne, they should get him.
Karthus off for good measure, and it doesn't actually hit him.
That was kind of a waste of Karthus ult.
Yeah.
And a bit of a misplay, because you know what? They could have held on. If Kennen was going to get away, that's when they should have executed him. And Karthus, I don't think he didn't get an assist for that.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. So, once again, the ult's down now, and it's not like it did anything to the other lanes. I mean, Ahri's kind of low, but she's going to lifesteal that right back up with blue buff, so Moscow 5 making a few mistakes. They're not huge mistakes, but those things can build up. Hell can take advantage of that.
I've got to give it to Moscow 5. I think it's about 4 AM for those guys at the moment.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask that. I mean, it's 2 PM here already. I know it's super late.
It's
10 for the tournament
11
time.
Where I'm sitting, and they are about 2 or 3 hours in front of me. So, yeah, it's late. Got to give them that. Ghosty Pepper taking a few more Acid Hunters in the back. Slepper now got even more items to his name. Brutalizer, Glacial Shroud is going to start making that Frozen Heart. And Young Buck, what are we going to see from you? So far, you've just been ganked and farmed.
Youngblood, I mean, it's okay if he dies. He's still getting decent farm. A Wick is ahead, but you have to expect that with two ganks involving 3 members of Moscow 5 heading towards him. And really, he's not there to do anything except initiate at this point, or to support an Urgot ult, because Ahri and Urgot are doing so well right now. It's okay for Kennen to be a little behind, because he's still going to be useful, he's still going to have that ult. He just has to make sure that he hits level 11, and at that point, he'll be at the safe, very, very good Kennen ult area. The Kennen ult zone.
Oh no, Alex is just farming race. I was really thinking he was going for a 3-man gank top. He's Karthus, he doesn't have to leave his lane to make it a 3-man gank. But he does if he's used his ultimate like that.
M5 saw Dragon go down, right? Or they saw that...
Yeah, they know that it's down.
Genja
found that with his ultimate, and they backed away. So they do have the timer on it, and the timer is very soon.
And they actually... A bit of a, some missteps I'm seeing from M5. They just went ahead and Genja actually just checked Dragon right now with his ult, so they're not too clear on the timing. They might have mistimed it or forgot to time it. So I think the fact that it's 4 AM, because these are more technical mistakes, and more the fact they aren't doing the what's what I'm trying to think of. They're just the common motions that you have to do all the time, all the timers you have to keep and all. Yeah, the mechanics. And they're missing up on just some of the meta mechanics, and that's kind of weird. That's not something you expect from most teams, most players, especially at this level, and especially M5.
No way to watch it. Zinuk standing on a ward at the moment, just to keep things zoned down. We do have Darien coming down from the top lane. Don't know what that voice was, but
yeah, that was. It is also late there.
Yeah, we are looking for Moscow 5 to make this play. There is the dragon. It does now respawn. Everyone's going to see that up on their map. We've got wards and we got the little skull sitting on top of that camp.
If they see Karthus go back, that's going to be a free dragon for Absolute Legends. And I think they're heading towards it right now. Karthus has gone back. I don't think they saw it happen, but what are they going to try and do now? There's a few characters they can go for. They can go for bot lane. They can go for mid. Trying to poke both, it seems.
Luna with his double buff, gonna stand in zone mid. We got Nocturne coming around the far side. Darien going back up to top lane.
Wards everywhere.
Too much vision.
Luna did not check the bush. Youngbuck is in.
No, which is odd because I mean you've said it before. That is a bush you always want warded when you're playing a dragon. Now he's gonna see it as he goes into zone. Darien takes that ward out, and there's a swap going into the Karthus straight into the middle of everyone. Can they burst him down? He's exhausted, he will drop, but remember it's Karthus, he's not dead yet. Ghost Soup Pepper will follow him. Diamond Prox is looking to be low. Genja's getting chased out by Extinct. Nice flash from Diamond will keep him alive. Genja's still there. We've got Darien coming around the backside, grabs our kill onto Urgot. Karthus did manage to finish Janna off in the middle of all that. Extinct falls down to Genja. He got the Diamond Prox kill, but it's Maluno and Darien fighting while Youngbuck and Genja are low health and on the run. Darien's going to win that fight every time, but Maluno gets himself to a tower. Alright, 3 for 3, and Dragon's still up.
Well, a lot of that went wrong because they fought in the Karthus. So they got Karthus in their entire enemy team, or in their entire team, and they just gang rushed him, destroyed him. Dead Karthus. Good. That's what you want from Karthus. You want him alive as short a time as possible. Unfortunately, they fought in him, and that was also supplemented by the Kog'Maw slow, the Nocturne Fear, and they were kind of stuck in the Karthus for a while, and they took AoE from his, not Wall of Pain, Defile. They took a lot of Qs, and they took a lot of damage. So that just kind of whittled them down, and they went for a chase, and then with some good kite from Kog'Maw, it just put them out of position.
The flash steal from Maluno doesn't quite land, and that actually, he stopped to attack the ward because he's attack moving, and that's got him caught. He's going really low, and he's got the oracles that they don't want to lose. Darien is his target. Diamond Fox still amongst everything. They haven't killed him yet. There's the swap goes out to Darien. He will fall down with a double kill on Ahri. Genja around the far side to blue. Needs to be careful not to get caught out of position, but I think he's about to get 5-man dived on this bot tower. He is so cut off from everyone right now.
This is actually kind of risky because underneath that tower there's a chance he will die and get a kill. Unless he split the damage very well like that. So, no kill.
Leopard grabs kill. 3 for 3, double kill on Ahri. Dragon worth it?
Nope. Well, actually, who did she kill? Were they worth money? I think everyone's worth money at that point.
She
So that
got
was
Diamond
definitely
Prox
worth
and
it. For,
Darien, yeah. Genjo was killed by Slapper.
definitely worth it. That's kind of scary for Moscow 5, and they did not get the Oracles in the entire ordeal. They're still in Oracles on the Luno. That would have been something very nice for them to pick off, just kind of equalizing that disadvantage, but that didn't happen. Now, we're seeing another early Glacial Shroud on Kog'Maw. I can understand this. The cooldown will help him maintain that W, keep it up. He can now spam his ult much more with that extra mana. And I kind of like that pick. It's kind of weird, it's kind of offbeat, and he's also building a Brutalizer. So instead of building for the late game, he's trying to make sure that his team survives just the mid game right now by building a bunch of cheaper items and going for, once again, that poke that M5 loves to rely on.
And Ahri going straight in onto Alex Hitch, chopping that ult, missing the charm, landing his Q, dancing under the tower, takes a slow, and the last ult just pushed the minion wave. So, extinct with that blue buff, not too worried about spamming his ultimate out, and we should now look to leave. Blue buff, is it going to Slepper again? Or yeah, it looks like it is, because there's already one on Ahri, thanks to those kills she picked up at Dragon.
Something that Urgot does have to watch out for is that he doesn't have a whole lot of MR, so that Karthus will be quite a problem if he lets him get the damage off. Actually, Warwick too. Quite a bit of magic damage as Alex Hitch flashes in defense.
Alright, AL with the 5-man pushing mid still. Warwick is still up in that top lane. Going to take a bit of damage to this mid tower. Zinnik currently face tanking it. Slepper with mass shields. And he's down by a third health. Darien is now approaching from top. And they all have no real reason to stay here now, and they do decide to back away.
A dive would be very, very silly right now from Absolute Legends. They don't actually have a whole lot of AoE damage. They have some in Ahri, Urgot, and Kennen all have their own AoE, Maokai too, but not enough to be like, oh, this is our hard AoE composition.
And they're swapping out to Diamond Prox. The charm actually misses from Ahri. Diamond will drop really quickly in just the damage from Ahri. She dashes in, trying to get a bit more off to Diamond Prox. Flashes after Alex Hitch, and you are so far out of position right now, Extinct, and they are going to tow her. Moscow 5, do not let them slip up.
Extinct decided he just didn't want to live anymore.
Yeah, they're going to go and finish off Go-Su Pepper for good measure. 1 for 2 exchange, not the best. Flash I've seen Extinct pull off.
I mean, it's still good exchanges. Taric's not worth a whole lot of money, so him dying isn't that bad, but it is a bit of time where they're not going to have the full 5. And it just makes defense a little harder. That armor buff from Taric really is handy. I will say that flash was very, very poorly. That was just such a bad idea. Don't flash like that.
Yeah.
Don't flash to the enemy Warwick. But they did get a kill, but it was Taric and not worth it. And though the tower is nice. And you'll notice it's a 7,000 gold lead for Absolute Legends, which is pretty big at this point in the game. It's only 23 minutes in. That's an Infinity Edge and a half. Actually, Infinity Edge and 3-4. It's actually possibly 2 Infinity Edges. Reason I was not an econ major, by the way. I compare everything to burgers and Infinity Edges.
Let's wait and watch it. 200 burgers on the line. Farming the top lane up against Alex. Alex still got no flash. He's got the exhaust up though. And Kennen, you've been farming for quite some time. What you got up to? Nearly got his Zonyas.
Going straight for the Zonyas, that's a really good purchase because he doesn't have the farm or levels to really go for a death cap and survive because his top laning experience was pretty poor. He got ganked quite a bit. So just go for the survivability, just make sure he can get his ult off and survive. Slepper
6-1, Ahri 8-3. That's some strong champions. We can check the actual gold through it. Ahri sitting on 9,200. Slepper on 9,000, and the closest as far as Moscow 5 are concerned are Warwick and... Gone? They're diving onto mid, diving
yeah.
Sorry.
That's what's happening with Warwick. Like, what's going on with Warwick?
Yeah,
he's taking it out.
He was down in the bottom lane pushing it up. Double buff. Gonna lose top tower now to Young Buck and Slepper. The rest of AL pushing mid, forcing them to turn around.
Some very good pressure to do that. Just push up a lane, say, we're going to take this tower unless you guys back up and defend it. And when M5 goes to back up, because they have to, they can't lose inhibitor turret, they lose top turret in exchange. But just some very, very good map plays, and just they're ahead enough where they can pull this off, so it's good that they are. Not leaving any stones unturned.
Alex, a little bit too deep. Gets burst down under the tower. No response at all from the rest of Moscow 5. He ults just because he can. And while he does quite a bit of damage to these guys from AL, there's no follow-up at all. Looks like the rest of the team didn't want to fight, but Slepper's getting caught out by Darian. Ult comes from Nocturne, stun and fear and ignite and damage, and dead Slepper with purpley green crab goo.
Slepper trying to get some good pokes off onto, I believe that was Darian. But unfortunately he walked into, he just got a Warmogs, which is actually not the best purchase. I'll explain that in a second, but it looks like we have a dragon coming out from M5. The problem with that Warmogs is that he doesn't have any magic resist yet. So if Warwick is queuing him, and he is a very good target to queue, that percentage lifesteal is just going to destroy him, because he only has 50 or so magic resist. So he might want to buy an Emerald item next. I think he could even go offensive with a Hex Drinker, which isn't very common. As Nick tries to steal blue buff from Diamond Prox with a tornado. I gotta give him props for that. Good try.
The smoke goes out, Maluna grabs the dragon, the stun goes onto Young Buck, but he's already got his ult channeling. He is so low, the ignite's taking, he will drop. Goes through Pepper, follows him up. Diamond Prox, are you going to be the next target? You're going to die to Ahri again? No, nice ult from Darian, will keep him alive. Darian grabs that kill, Maluna really deep, couldn't he? Well, he will lose his oracles. Goes in onto Nocturne, see if he can grab that kill. Can't quite get the damage out. Oracles is down. They grab the dragon, but 3 for 1, and the loss of an oracles. Moscow 5 coming out quite strong in that fight, even though they are 10,000 gold down.
There was one disadvantage that they had, which is Taric actually got a kill, which they did not want at this point because he's not doing a whole lot. And the goal is not going to be too massive. It does get him closer to a reverie, but he needed to not die, or to not get a kill, and hopefully give it to someone else. But that reset his gold value, which is kind of bad. And at the same time, the reason that fight went so poorly was, well, AL wasn't grouped. They had 4 people. They were going for Dragon. That was fine. But Zinnik had just used his Tornado to try and steal it from Golem. And M5 just kind of grouped up, ran in there, and got a bunch of kills. It's not, that deep. It's just they had a numbers advantage, and they have some fantastic bursts with Warwick, with Nocturne, and a Kog'Maw on the back just shooting along with Karthus. If they're not being dove on, then they're just going to wreck the enemy team. Karthus and Kog'Maw much more threatening than Kennen, Ahri, and the Urgot that wasn't there. Also Urgot, I think had it been anybody but Urgot or Ahri that weren't there, that would have been a possibly won fight for AL instead of just that very, very big win for M5.
Off to Moscow 5, we have just seen them win that fight. They are not incapable of turning this around. We've seen some really strong almost comebacks and comebacks in their time. In fact, even in this tournament. So let's wait and watch it. Karthus, the longer this game goes on, the stronger he's going to get. He's already got a Rod of Ages, an Abyssal, and another Blasting Wand up. It is not anything to be ignored. Let's wait and watch it. Where are you off? Alex still farming, 235 AP. Baron is up, AL are clearing it. Next Oracle's up on Zinnik now that Maluna has lost his. I'm pretty sure he paid for that Oracles with the amount of wards he killed though. He took out a lot. It was only 16.
Oh yeah, that Oracles was totally worth it for Maluna. He had it for such a long time and survived through many, many fights. So the Oracles did get its worth, and Maluna is not far behind for having that. I mean, he's ahead actually.
Swap goes on to Nocturne. Diamond Prox in the middle of everyone for AL gets, I wouldn't say burst down. They didn't want to use too many abilities, and that was well done. They want a Baron after this, so they saved as much as possible. No summoners used, nothing huge. Ultra Force goes over onto Alex. There's the ult, there's the flash. That's a big kill that they really wanted to get, and it will start the next proper fight. Youngbuck gets a good stun off onto Darian. The ult comes out from Alex. The Zhonya stays up long enough. Youngbuck doesn't take the damage from it, and so far that's 3 for nothing that AL have picked up. Genja's slow hits every single member of them. They won't be able to keep their chase going, but they can turn back onto Baron. And with just Genja and Gosu Pepper up, nothing really that Moscow 5 can do to stop this.
That was just, that was so well played. That swap over the wall, this is the pick they needed. Had they gone for something like Karthus in a big team fight, it might have, the same thing that happened before might have happened again, where, well, they killed Karthus, but he killed everybody. So they started just this weird snowball effect where it's like, I'm scared they're going to do Baron now, we lost Nocturne, we can still fight them at Baron with Nocturne dead, we can still try. But instead they just baited it out, Ahri, and they saved everything. The only ult they used in that fight against Nocturne was Urgot ult. Ahri ult was still up, Kennen ult was still up, and that showed in that next fight when they just used all their abilities and steamrolled M5. I don't think Alex Sitch was expecting Ahri to be able to ult over that wall and charm him. Just very, very well played from AL to show the control, set up such a good trap, and just take such a big advantage with that Baron buff. Because now, I don't know what M5 can do to defend against it. Luckily, Baron buff doesn't provide any defensive stats except for HP regeneration. So the fact that Urgot has no MR is still going to come into play. Still 55 MR, that's so low, and well, he does have 3,400 HP. But they're going to have to pull something. They have to go for a lot of poke and do what they've done before, and I don't know if AL will let them do it. The question is, will they play safely? Will they go for a weird dive like a lot of other teams have done? Because even though they're ahead, even though they have Baron, if they're low on HP, they can still be executed very, very easily by Karthus, by Nocturne, by Warwick, and Kog'Maw especially. His damage is still high. This is more of a mid-game build for Kog'Maw too, so he's going to be a bit more threatening than he would be in a normal game.
Now, 10 kills above for AL, 12,000 gold, and they're going to push down and grab some global. This is the only tier 2 tower left standing for Moscow 5, and they can stand there and poke it and take him off it. There's not really too much Moscow 5 can do to defend it. They are just not strong enough. When a decent
if they defend it,
yep.
They will lose an inhibitor if they defend it. Like, no doubt about that.
There you go. Stood there and watched it die.
Sometimes you gotta shed the tear as your tower dies because it just ain't worth it. And this is gonna be a big push if M5 can't defend it. There isn't a whole lot of auto attack damage coming out onto that tower, which is very, very good for M5 because, I mean, Urgot doesn't exactly have great range.
Ooh, Extinct just used his ult since he didn't want to get caught under that tower. So having to use up those extra charges, or that's going to be completely finished. And he does use the charges to get across the mid just because he can. Well, it's going to make it hard for the fight, and in fact AL are going to back away completely from that. They just couldn't quite poke down a Moscow 5 enough, or budge them from that tower. But Dragon's up, Young Buck's on his way across there.
I mean, unfortunately with Urgot, your highest attack range is going to be 450, I believe, is his attack rate, or might be 475. Oh, 425 up. Lower than I thought. So he's their AD. His attack range is not very good. So if he goes in for a tower shot, he's going to get ulted by Warwick, or he's just not going to be able to do a whole lot. So they're very, very scared of just being initiated on under the tower. Warwick is somebody who's very, very good at that. If you're under the tower, Warwick will stop you there. And while there's a chance AL could win that fight, the fact that, once again, not a whole lot of MR for their team and a lot of magic damage coming out from M5 means that they don't want to take too many big risks. So they want to try and get a pick. If they see Warwick in the bot lane, they will kill that top tower. And it looks like that's what they're going to try and do right now, just try and push it as fast as they can. They see Wick porting back, they know Darian's back into the base.
They've got about 30 seconds left on this Baron. Meluna going to face tank the tower for a bit, just gets slowed and is forced to leave. The rest of Moscow 5 have arrived, and AL may have just missed their chance through no fault of their own.
And Darian not very greedy about CS.
Swap goes out onto Alex, he just flashes straight back in. The fight's going to go down under the tower. Meluna snares in, AL, young Buck going really deep, wants to get that stun off. Diamond Prox comes out with his ult, goes back with his flash. And we are still just more or less poking each other. Ahri ulting across the wall, flashing back again. She still has some charges up, so that flash may have been a bit itchy finger, but nobody died, just poke going backwards and forwards between these two, and some big poke too, with the use of all those ultimates.
That was a very scary fight for both teams. So yeah, if M5 had lost that fight, they would have lost the game, and AL losing that fight could have led to a comeback for M5, and still could. So that was just terrifying for everybody. But they just kind of ran at each other, could not do any damage to finish each other off because neither team has a whole lot of damage right now except for Karthus and Ahri doing quite a bit. Urgot, he hurts, but he's Urgot, he's very, very tanky, and that's his strength rather than being a very high damage dealer like Kog'Maw. And Kog'Maw's build right now is starting to falter a bit. It was great for the mid game, but now the fact that he doesn't have an Infinity Edge and has Mercury Treads and that Glacial Shroud are coming into play a bit, where he doesn't hurt as much as he normally would. So it's scary for both teams. They're both in positions where one false move could just start a snowball effect. And in the case of M5, if they make a false move, that snowball just crushes over their tiny little village or whatever I'm using this analogy for. What do snowballs crush normally? I think like a
Yetis.
Yetis. It'll crush their Yeti bodies. I think that was kind of insulting for M5, so I take that back.
I don't even... 15,000 gold, then up for Absolute Legends. Baron's worn out. It will respawn within the next 2.5 minutes. And Moscow 5 needs to try and make sure no one gets caught this time round. And actually, Maluno with his flash, his Shurelios goes in onto Alex Idge. Genja, bottom lane, still farming up. We've got Darien coming across from the side. It's still not Darien, it's Slepper. And Ahri blows that Karthus up. Darien is now the focus for Maluno. He ults down onto Extinct and pays through with his life. Genja's joined the party. Slepper swapping Diamond Trucks back in towards the team. There's the ult, the snare, sorry, and the ult to remove vision. Diamond Procs still down, and okay, Baron's up in 2.5 minutes, but Ale may have ended the game in 2.5 minutes.
They have 35 seconds before Karthus has respawned. I think they can end the game. It's going to be kind of tricky with that Kog'Maw there, but Taric is not going to do a whole lot to defend the tower. The best he can do is stun somebody as they're being hit by both towers, which would be quite a bit of damage actually. But we may see Ale just go ahead and take inhibitors. Nope, they're going to go for the finish. This should be game, but you never know. Some weird things can happen. But I don't think our little Kog'Maw friend can defend against that group of Ale. And their Yeti bodies are crushed finally.
Yeah, there is Ale taking home game number 1.
Ooh. Diamond procs with the classic disconnect before the game ends.
Yeah, a little bit of the old F4 action. But let's wait and see. Victory. Game 2 is on the way in a matter of minutes' time. It will just be a case of remaking the lobby and we'll get back in. Guys, remember, competition is to win Sennheiser earphones and to win a TT Esports Dragon bag, all up on the 4PL website. Links will be in stream chat, #4pl.tv.lol on QuakeNet.